All right, we'll get to that. Look, I don't have Hawkins and Gabriel had big numbers yesterday. They just didn't. They weren't able to get plays when they needed them. That's the hard part.
They didn't get plays when they needed. It's a yawn fest with these guys. I mean, it's amazing they've made it this far in the season with the guys they have. Let's be honest. It's time to get And if Ray Farmer wants to give me this crap about how he he fits in. Figure it out. You put the talented guys on the field, and then you work it out. Don't give me this crap about he hasn't played in 10 weeks. He's in shape. Get your money's worth.
You sure he's in shape? That's my question.
Well, he's in some kind of shape. I don't care. Make him throw up on the field. He gets paid for these next 6 weeks to make a difference. He better go out and make a difference.
1,000 yards, that's what he wants.
I don't expect 1,000 yards, but I expect him to make a difference. They got to get the running game going. But let's be serious. If they're going to win any games left with the teams that are left, Josh Gordon's going to make some plays because right now teams are going, you can't run on us. And if you can't run on them, if they can't run, they can't score.
Eric, the referee, next topic, please.
All right, one of my favorite tweets that someone tweeted out during the game was, "You're not my boy, Blue," from the old school. Alfred Blue had 178 yards yesterday. I mean, grade the Browns' defense and the rushing defense.
They're going to need their boy Blue to play defensive line.
They
keep up with these injuries. Defense was bad yesterday. They didn't blitz. They didn't really take advantage. A C was way too nice, to be completely honest. To me, losing Carlos Dansby, though, is the biggest thing of this game at the end of the day. I think without Dansby and his leadership, this defense doesn't have a chance. I just don't understand why they were so non-aggressive. This was a great game to put 8 in the box, blitz, and dare Ryan Mallett to beat them, and they did not do that. I should have gave worse than it. It should have been a D, to be completely honest.
I went D+, and a lot of the same things you just said right there. The biggest difference is I don't know if it's on the players themselves or if it's on the scheme that they ran, because they did not attack a quarterback that had limited play in the NFL, and I still don't understand how that guy could walk out of the game with a clean jersey when it was all said and done. Tim, your thoughts on this?
I went C-, probably should have went a D, but, it wasn't good. They had the football run right down their throat the entire game. But, I put a lot of that early on in the game, especially on the offense. The offense was going 3 and out, putting that defense right back out on the field, and the Texans using that tempo. I think the Browns were exhausted on defense because they were out on the field so much. And then you add the injuries at linebacker and on the defensive line to that as well, and it was a recipe for a bad game defensively.
Kenny, F on this one.
Surprise!
You stayed consistent. I'll give you that.
Guys, a rookie quarterback making his first start on the road in 20-degree temperatures. The number 1 running back in the NFL, not in the offense, right? He's out of the game. You got a rookie 6th-round pick carrying the football, and you get beat 23-7. You give up 200 yards on the ground at home. You don't pressure a young quarterback like that. What the hell were they thinking? What was Pettin and O'Neal thinking about sitting back and trying to drop coverage in confusing Ryan? Get after him. You throw the kitchen sink, the refrigerator, the stove, the microwave. You throw everything at him. You make life miserable for him. You knock him on his ass. Don't help him up, and do it again the next snap. And they didn't do any of that.
He's right.
But how much of that is coaching and how much of that is players on the field?
We're going to grade the coaches.
Oh, okay,
and I think what Kenny's getting at, the coaching staff deserves an F. Completely.
What do you got?
They
What's
ruined
next,
that
Eric?
game.
We'll do the coaching staff. We'll grade the coaches up. Mike Pettin, another loss. Grade him.
Go ahead, Kenny. We'll just let you start. Go on this one.
Failure, big-time failure. Worst game for Mike Pettin since he's been the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. We knew as a rookie head coach he was going to make some mistakes. He was going to have a bad game or two. Well, this was his bad game, his worst game. The game plan offensively, defensively, special team, across the board. He didn't have them ready to play again. Unfortunately, we're seeing a trend there. Why can't they come out in the first quarter and play like they do when they're down and have to come back? So from top to bottom, every coach, and it starts with Mike Pettin, they all got an F. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I think I went. What did I go on this? I went D.
You went D minus.
I went D minus. Here's why. Because there were a couple times in that game that momentum could have changed the Browns' way. The fumble at the 19, I thought, was one. And in the fourth quarter, Paul Kruger had the ball in his hands and had nothing but the end zone in front of him and couldn't hang on to it.
True,
so, I mean, I know the coaching sucked,
can I say
but if
something
they would have won this morning, we would have been like, yeah, the coaching wasn't very good.
Kruger is a J.J. Watt. That would have been a hell of a hard play to make.
He had ball. He had
the ball
both
was
of his
over his
No, it wasn't. It
shoulders.
hit him right here. Look, come back on camera. It hit him right here.
I thought it hit
him
like
him
this.
right here. It wasn't like he was going up here. The ball hit him right here.
Krug's, I got your back on this.
Where?
We see,
I
we
got
see
his
one,
back too,
we see
but-
one big 99 make plays.
But my point is that they were still within 2 or 3 plays of
Yeah.
actually changing our minds today, rather than saying it was a garbage game. They almost could have won, and we said that was a garbage win, but we'll take it any way you can.
You are correct, Andy, in saying that. And I think that's part of the problem with why the expectations with this team are where they're at. They've won a couple games looking like trash this season where we all walk away and Pettin goes up there and goes, well, you don't look up and see bad win in the column, and he's right. But they've played like this a couple games this season and got lucky and won. Yesterday, they found a team that didn't allow them to win the game despite them looking like trash.
They got outplayed. They got one break. Spencer Lanning. That was it.
How is Spencer Lanning still playing after Antonio Brown kicked him in the face? He's had the craziest punting season ever.
Tim, go ahead and grade this.
Kenny made such good points about the coaching staff and the game plan. I was a little more generous with him, but, I gave him a C because, I put a lot of it on the players as well. C- I gave him, but I put a lot of it on the players. The game plans weren't great, but there, like you guys said, there were plays out there that were to be made. The guys just didn't make them. You run a kickback 104 yards for a touchdown, it's called back, things like that. You're taking points off the board. So I put some of it on the players as well. But, yeah, definitely a bad game for Coach Pettin and the entire staff.
All right, what do we got? One left here?
Special teams. Spencer Lanning had a heck of a game. He drew 2 charges.
Yeah, 2 charges. Yeah.
And then he had that outstanding punt on that ball that was snapped 10 feet
All
over
right,
his head.
Spencer Lanning for me is the only
Did he
reason they
just
didn't
say
get.
he had an outstanding game? What was the word he just used?
He had an outstanding game.
Well, you give him a C. Listen, here's why. He's the only reason they didn't get an F yesterday. Missed field goal. What do we have? A fumble on a kickoff return yesterday?
A kickoff return call back.
Kickoff return call back. 2 bad snaps. And you got 104. I mean, there were so many reasons to give them an F.
Let Rhoda do it. He's Rhoda.
Go ahead, Kenny,
Rhoda's
go.
right.
Come
Rhoda's
on,
right.
guys, that snap. I mean, it was like 5 feet off. How he made the play, okay, maybe you give him some points for that.
Right.
But still, the missed field goal, 38 yards in the first quarter when it's a 7-0 game. The momentum, we know how it changes on one play. You miss that. That gives Houston more confidence and everything. You get a kickoff return. It's called back. That gets you within a 1-score game. Again, I don't see how you can give them anything but an F across the board. Again, you can't have these mistakes from each unit and expect to win a football game. 2 out of 3, you play well, you can still win. But when all 3 play bad, and they did, F, failure.
Tim, I think we need to get Rhoda in the locker room before the game next week. He's got to fire
I
on
agree,
one.
man.
That's what we
You give him a
need.
pep talk. He's
But
making
they
some
didn't
good
have
points,
him
valid points. There's no argument for me on any of the stuff that he said. But I think every game the Browns have lost this year, I think special teams have contributed to those losses with negative plays. We've already talked about the missed field goal, the kick return called back, all those things, the bad snaps, all those things kind of play in. And anytime you have a negative play on special teams, it has a huge effect on the outcome of the game. And yesterday was no different for that.
And
Which is
guys,
really
you know
nice.
what? The games they've won,
Yeah.
Chris Tabor's special teams have played outstanding, and they were a big part of the reason that they won the football game, too. It's 1/3 of the recipe for success. And yesterday, all 3 phases, including they were terrible, and that's why for me it was just a complete F. The only guy I didn't give an F to was Joe Hayden. He battled his ass off once again with a bigger receiver in Andre, and even some of the catches Andre Johnson made. Hayden was right there. He's the only guy for me yesterday that didn't give an F, that played his ass off, in my opinion, and deserved at least a C for his effort.
Totally.
K'Wan Williams?
K'Wan Williams played. I like it. If Gilbert played with the attitude K'Wan Williams plays with, you'd have a hell of a secondary.
Did Gilbert even play yesterday?
I didn't see him out there a lot.
Did Mingo play yesterday?
He had a sack. Mingo had
a decent one decent
They didn't
play
have a
second.
sack. They didn't give up any sacks.
No, they
Houston
didn't.
ran
He had
for
a-
200 yards and 0 sacks.
He had a pressure, I believe. I'm sure Joe Banner will
Oh,
tweet.
a pressure, yay, okay.
Joe
way to
Banner
go.
will tweet about it and pat himself on the back.
M-I-N-G-O,
M-I-N-G-O-M. That's an issue. And I keep going at it. Nobody wants to talk about it. That kid he's not progressed. And I don't know if he's an NFL player. I'm being completely honest. I don't know if Mingo's
Who's
an NFL
worse,
player.
the slight drizzle, Courtney Brown, or Barkevius Mingo?
Hey, Courtney had that game in Chicago that we're still talking.
All right, my bad.
You remember that one, Tim, don't you?
I do. I remember that one. Courtney was a heck of a player when he was healthy. He just couldn't stay healthy. Man.
Right.
He was a freak when he was on the field. Big dude, could run, make some plays, but the injury bug got Courtney, I think.
Nobody's saying that
He
about
comes
Mingo.
back from
LeVar
playing
Arrington.
against him in the bowl game against Penn State when Courtney lit him up a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, I can't forget that one. We jumped out to an early lead on him, and then LeVar Arrington and Courtney Brown just kind of started teeing off on me. So I got a lot of respect for Courtney after playing against him out on the field.
All right, you get a little bonus, gentlemen. You get to say who's in the doghouse. We're going to let you play that. Who's in the doghouse? We're gonna
Mike Pettin. As a man has a bald head like me, I expect him to be fired up. Like I said, when I hear Rhoda, that's what I expect from Mike Pettin. His team didn't come out with that. He totally fumbled the running back situation. I know he's a first-year head coach, and I know there's things going on that he's never dealt with. But he helped lose that game yesterday. That was his worst game as a head coach. He's got to understand, and Andy, you've been saying it since they came out stale against Pittsburgh. This, light a fire under these guys. Come out and have these guys. I would rather see them come out in the first quarter and lay it all on the table and play terrible in the second quarter. And I go, he had them ready. He hasn't had them ready.
Here's my issue. Why do I trust Dante Whitner more than I do Mike Pettin to fire this team up?
Ooh.
True or false?
Absolutely true. And that's a problem.
Tim, who's in your doghouse right now?
I would probably go with the entire defense. I was disappointed in the defense yesterday. I thought that they had really turned the corner as a unit and kind of figured out that run defense after the last couple of weeks where they had played so well. But yesterday, they just got the football mashed down their throat, and they had no answer for it. So right now, for me, it's the entire defense.
Kenny, your doghouse.
The doghouse.
Mike Pettin, Jim O'Neill, Kyle Shanahan, Chris Tabor, Brian Horn, and the entire freaking team is in the doghouse. You had extra time off to prepare. You're at home. You're in first place, and you don't come out ready. And don't give me this crap after well, I got to look at the film to see what was wrong. No, you got your asses kicked yesterday. That's what was wrong. You weren't ready to play yesterday. You got your butts whooped. They opened up a can of whoop ass on you. Everybody deserves to be in the doghouse, and Mike Pettin better chew some out this week and get everybody ready to play on the road at Atlanta, or you could be seeing, and I don't want to really go there, but remember what happened at the last portion of last season after a decent start. Let's hope that doesn't occur, and that falls on Mike Pettin to get everybody ready to play.
Can he save some of this juice for 3 o'clock, man? I'm worried about you.
I got plenty today, man. I'm ready. I don't even need a nap today. I'm going to be running on energy all the way through until 7 o'clock down at HBC.
All right, well, listen for you then, and we appreciate your time there in the KennyRhoda.com studios. Thanks, Kenny.
All right, guys. See you
good, Kenny. Tim, we'll talk to you next week as well. So
I didn't even get to ask Kenny about JT Barrett being up for the Heisman.
Oh, well, all right.
Is he still? Oh, he's still there. I don't think he can win it, Kenny, but he should.
I don't think he can win it, but he could get invited. You know, and that would be saying a lot from a kid that I didn't think had enough talent to help this team stay in the race. So kudos to JT Barrett. He played a hell of a game for them, and they needed him to on the road. He was outstanding, and he broke 3 records in one game of quarterback records in the history of Ohio State.
Right.
And he has a chance to break like 3 or 4 more, and he's got 2-3 games left, 4 games left when you count the bowl game. So this kid is playing phenomenal football. Kudos to Urban Meyer. Remember, this was an Urban Meyer recruit, guys.
Yeah.
Okay? We're starting to see now that, this is his 3rd year, and these are guys that are starting to play more. Raekwon McMillan starting to play more. That's an Urban. And the key to all of this, guys, and I touched on this a while back, the Buckeyes are recruiting outside the state of Ohio now. Look at their key players. Their key players are coming from outside the state of Ohio. And that's something I think it's important if you're going to compete with Tim's conference, the SEC.
Well, Braxton Miller, I hope you call up Russell Wilson this week.
Get the paperwork ready.
Hey, Kenny, we'll talk to you later. Tim, I'm just curious what you think how the top 4 is going to shake out this week.
I think Alabama's going to make a big jump. I think right now, just looking at it, Alabama is probably the best team in the country. The schedule they've played, and they had the 1 loss, but I think right now they're kind of finding their stride as a football team. The quarterback's starting to play more consistent, so I think they'll probably be number 1. And Florida State, obviously, you feel like they're going to lose every week, but they just find a way to win football games. And I don't think Mississippi State will drop that much out of I don't think they will drop out of the top 4. I think, you go on the road, you lose a game in Tuscaloosa where you were so competitive. I think they stay in there for this week, and then probably Oregon will be in there as well. But it's going to be a fun finish to the season. Some of these teams still have some very, very tough games left to play, and it's going to be fun to see how it all plays out.
Hey, Tim, do you think Ohio State hurt themselves this weekend against Minnesota? Because I think people are going to go back and say TCU 30-7 against Minnesota. Now you got a common opponent there. They were happy to get out of there.
Not if you watch TCU play this week.
But I think people are hoping to put Ohio State in the top 4. That they needed to have a more convincing win than TCU did.
It was a top 25 team. I know what you're saying. I'll let Tim answer, then I'll answer. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, I don't think they really hurt themselves. I think, just getting a win is what's important right now. And, this late in the season, I think it's the important thing is you win the football game. And, yeah, you want style points and you want all that. But they won the football game, and their quarterback is playing at a high level. And I think, that's a team that right now is, along with Alabama, is probably one of the hottest teams in the country. So I don't really think they hurt themselves, no.
All right, Tim, have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday. Thank you. We appreciate it,
Let
Tim.
me be honest with you real
Okay,
quick.
guys, see you next week.
Take care. On the top 4.
Yeah.
Who travels better than Ohio State?
No, I know. There's no. I mean,
is it
it's about money. And the other thing is that Ohio State can travel quickly.
Right.
It's not like you go, you win. If you can win the semifinal, make it to
Right.
the championship. Ohio State's gonna have just as many people at the championship as they did. At the
You
semi.
just said what nobody's saying on the big stations. Let's be honest. Alabama will travel.
Absolutely.
Ohio State will travel. They're not going to say this, but they want big viewing part. It's a big deal. If Ohio State doesn't stub their toe, wouldn't you rather them there than TCU? I'm not saying you.
Oh no,
you know
I
what
got
mean?
it.
Like,
I'm looking at Herb Street. What was it? Eastern Illinois? Was it Eastern Illinois that went to the Orange Bowl a couple years ago?
no. Northern from the
Okay.
MAC. Yeah.
I mean, I just remember Herbie going crazy when they went in, and that's if you
It was an Orange
take
Bowl,
that
right?
into consideration. If this panel takes that into consideration, then Ohio State's helped out.
You know they do.
Of course,
You
there's
know how
money
this
involved.
works.
Well, let's go to Chris Fedor for a second. Hey, Chris, how are you? From Cleveland.com, 92.3 The Fan. Hi, Chris.
My man.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, the hangover from the Browns yesterday. Your thoughts on that right now?
He doesn't drink.
You don't have to drink to have a hangover from that one.
It's not as easy to wake up on Monday mornings after those kinds of things, guys. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, it was a tough one. We don't like. Here's the thing that I don't get: how do they come out flat when they come on first place? They've got a dome team coming in. They don't attack the quarterback. What befuddled you more, Chris?
I think there were a lot of things that befuddled me, but I think it's the fact that the last time this team came off a bye or a mini bye, they came out the same kind of way. If you go back to that game against Tennessee, and it's something that I think you have to point to coaching. And another thing that befuddled me, if we're talking about coaching, guys, is the running game was the best it had been for the last 4 weeks or so on Thursday night against Cincinnati. And a big part of that was Terrence West, to be honest with you. He got the start against Cincinnati. He got 26 carries against Cincinnati, nearly 100 yards. And you can look at his yards per carry or whatever. But I felt like he brought something to that running game on Thursday against Cincinnati. And he was pretty much non-existent yesterday. And I think once the Browns finally found something with the running game Thursday night against Cincinnati, it was really, really puzzling to switch the starting running back when they had played the best running game that they had in the last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, that was obviously a problem with it. I don't think there. I've been calling it all morning long, Russian roulette with these 3 running backs. I just feel like you need to pick 2 and just tell the other guys, sorry. If somebody gets hurt, you're in. Terrence West was good, but there's some maturity issues with Terrence West. There's some maturity issues with Crowell. To me, this was the time to use Ben Tate. Even if he's not the best back, Chris, I thought this was the one time you used his motivation basically against you.
Yeah, he would have been motivated. There's no question about it. I just thought that they should have used the guy, or they should have used the same formula that they used against Cincinnati. Coming off that game against Cincinnati, I don't think there was a whole lot that they should have changed, because that was a terrific game all the way around.
You're right, but they didn't get an early turnover. They didn't pressure the quarterback like they pressured Dalton, and Houston's defensive line was much better than the Bengals' defensive line.
For sure. There's no question about that. That's true.
All right, is this fixable? Is this fixable to come back against Atlanta?
I think it's fixable because I don't think Atlanta can do the things that Houston did yesterday. And I think when you're talking about game by game in the NFL, every single game is a different story. And every single game you have to try and attack a team a different way, and the team's going to try and attack you a different way. Atlanta doesn't have a guy like J.J. Watt.
No.
Atlanta doesn't have the tough physical presence on defense that Houston does all over the place. They don't have a guy like Brian Cushing.
They don't have a Swearinger even.
Yeah, they don't have a Swearinger. They don't have that intimidator on defense. And then if you look at the other side, they don't have a great offensive line either. And I think a place where the Browns can dominate games, and they showed that against Cincinnati on Thursday night, is in the trenches. And I think the weaknesses of Atlanta are the strengths of the Browns. And I think for one game it can be corrected because of the opponent.
Right.
But I think the Browns, they have some issues. There's no question about it. When you can't stop the run in the NFL, when Alfred Blue is the guy that's going for 150 yards, he had something like 14 carries for 26 yards in the previous times that he ran the ball before playing against the Browns. It seems like anytime there are questions at running back for another team, Jacksonville had questions at running back. Houston went into the game yesterday without one of the best running backs in the NFL. When you have questions at running back, the Browns have become the magic elixir, and that's a problem. You have to be able to stop the run in the NFL, especially now, here in November and December.
Hey, Chris, thanks a million for your time. Make sure to read you on Cleveland.com, Plain Dealer, and we'd love listening to you on 92.3 The Fan as well. Thanks.